Tune into Sports 360 with Ahmed Hamad.
On the third day of the first cricket test match between Australia and Sri Lanka at Galle, Sri Lanka, in reply to Australia's first innings score of 654 for 6 declared, were 136 for the loss of 5 wickets at close of Thursday's play, with Dinesh Chandimal batting on 63, and he is well supported by Dhananjaya de Silva, who's batting on 22. But Sri Lanka still trailed by 518 runs with 5 wickets still in hand. Earlier, Sri Lanka resumed their first inning at the overnight score of 44 for the loss of 3 wickets, with Chandimal batting on 9 and along with Kamindu Mendis, who's batting on 13. The fourth wicket partnership added 37 runs of 66 balls between Chandimal, who made 19, and Kamindu Mendis, who made 15. Lost their fourth wicket at 67, and Kamindu Mendis was the fourth batsman to go in the 21st over. He made 15 of 38 balls, hitting 1-4 and 1-6 with a strike rate of 40. He was caught by wicketkeeper Alex Carey off the bowling of Mitchell Starc. Chandimal then added another 40 runs for the fifth wicket along with Dhananjaya de Silva of 72 balls, and Chandimal contributed 18 while Dhananjaya made 22 runs in this 40 runs partnership. The 40 runs partnership took their total to 107 when Dhananjaya de Silva, the captain of Sri Lanka, was out after scoring 22 of 34 balls with the help of 3 fours and with a strike rate of 65. He was stumped by Alex Carey of the bowling of Kuhnemann. Last two sessions of the day was rained off. Before that, Chandimal added another 29 runs with Mendis of 58 ball, and Chandimal again scoring 18 in that partnership, and Mendis made 10 runs. And when the stumps were drawn because of rain, Sri Lanka scored 136 runs for the loss of 5 wickets from 42 overs. They scored their runs at a run rate of 3.23 runs. Sri Lankan batsmen have so far hit 16 fours and 2 sixes, which mean they have added 76 runs through boundaries. Australians were in commanding position. They strike twice before rain saved Sri Lanka from further damage. Australia will now have more work to do than they would have anticipated in the last 2 days. Australia's menacing attack was left frustrated after the first 2 sessions of day 3 were washed out, as Sri Lanka had respite from Galle surface starting to play tricks. The day started amid sunny conditions and 27 overs were bowled before rain cascaded on the ground out of nowhere just before lunch. There was no further play for the remainder of the day, with the stumps called more than 2 hours ahead of schedule. In response to Australia's massive first innings score of 654 for 6 declared, Sri Lanka were 136 for 5 at stumps, with Dinesh Chandimal playing a lone hand so far with an attractive 63 not out. Kusal Mendis is unbeaten on 10. Australia are still in the driving seat to claim victory in the first test after dominating the opening 7 session of the match. But the weather has added intrigue and given Sri Lanka hope of escaping with a draw. Rain is forecast for Saturday, but clear weather is expected on the 5th and final day. The pitch had been mostly benign over the opening 2 days, with sharp turn negated by the slowness of the surface, but it did start showing signs of wear in the morning session, with several cracks notable, and the ball occasionally exploded off the surface. After such a dismal performance by the top order, where they lost 3 wickets within 10 overs late on day 2, Sri Lanka resumed on 44 for 3 and still 410 runs away from the follow-on. Their hope of chiseling into the target rested on Chandimal and Kamindu Mendis, who entered with an average of 74 from 10 tests since debuting against Australia on the ground in 2022. In that match, Chandimal scored 206 not out in a big victory for Sri Lanka. They were confronted by the old guard of left-arm fast bowler Mitchell Starc and off-spinner Nathan Lyon, starting in tandem, having each claimed a wicket on the previous evening. Starc, attired in long sleeves, found some swings and also helped deepened the emerging footmarks. Chandimal was pinned down initially by Lyon, but perhaps having closely studied Australia's first inning playbook, Chandimal decided to go on the attack against Lyon, who loomed as Australia's tailsman, having had little to do in the pace-dominated home series against India. A fascinating battle emerged as Lyon bowled from round the wicket, aiming to develop footmarks. Chandimal was undaunted as he unfurled the sweep to good effect and clubbed Lyon to the boundary. He enjoyed luck on the next delivery when he edged past standing skipper Stephen Smith's outstretched left hand at first slip in the type of tough chance he has often snaffled in his career. Chandimal capped the most productive over of the inning when he reverse swept Lyon to the boundary, but Sri Lanka's solid start was rocked when Kamindu fell in the tame fashion on 15 when he was strangled down the leg side by Starc as Sri Lanka fell to 67 for 4. Chandimal remained unruffled despite coping a blow in the midriff by a shorter delivery from Starc. He continued to defy Lyon by backing his attacking instincts, much like Australia's batters on the opening 2 days. Chandimal danced down the wicket to good effect to club Lyon over cover. Chandimal had a productive partnership with his skipper Dhananjaya de Silva to underline there were still plenty of runs on offer on this service. But once again, Sri Lanka were derailed by recklessness when De Silva was stumped by Mile after he ran down at left-arm spinner Matthew Kuhnemann and missed a short and wide delivery. Having triggered Sri Lanka's woes by dismissing opener Ushara Fernando, Kuhnemann continued his strong return in first test match since the Indian tour in early 23. Chandimal reached his half-century of 91 balls before Sri Lanka, not for the first time in this match, were relieved by the sight of rain. Looking at the Australian bowling attack, Mitchell Starc's 8 over 1 maiden, 13 runs and 2 wicket with economy of 1.62. Matthew Kuhnemann, 13 overs 2 maiden, 48 runs and 2 wicket with economy of 3.69. Nathan Lyon, 15 overs 2 maiden, 43 runs and 1 wicket with economy of 2.86, while Todd Murphy, 6 overs, 1 maiden, 28 runs and no wicket. So the summary of the match, Australian standing captain Stephen Smith winning toss and opted to bat first and scored 654 runs and declared at the loss of 6 wickets. With 38 years old Usman Khwaja scoring his first double century, he made 232 runs, while Stephen Smith, who reached 10,000 runs milestone in Test cricket, was out after scoring 141, his 35th century in Test cricket, and English-born Josh English on his debut made a century. So for Sri Lanka, Chandimal is the lone warrior. In reply to Australia's first innings score of 654 for 6 declared, Sri Lanka at close of third day's play were 136 for the loss of 5 wickets. They still trail by 518 runs with 5 wickets still in hand.
Keep on watching Sports 360 with Ahmed Hamad for latest news, views, and interviews of sports personalities from around the world.